Welcome back to the Thrifty Food Plan channel, friends. I am so glad you are here. As you may know, if you've been watching my videos these last weeks, I am in the UK supporting my daughter, and an interesting news story popped up in my feed today talking about the fact that here in the UK, there are a bunch of food additives that are banned here, but are not banned in the United States. Now, the Mail is not known to be a particularly reliable source of information. So I did do some additional research, and I have linked all of the sources that I am using for this video in the description box below. But I thought it might be interesting for us to sort of look at things that I might be eating when I'm home in the US that I'm not eating here while I am in the UK because they're banned in the UK. So, how do these differences occur? Right. One thing about the UK and the EU is there is, I would say, generally like much tighter control around public health issues. So, in prior videos, I've talked about how, like food servings and things like that at the grocery store, even in restaurants, like the servings of food are much smaller. But in the context of food additives, the difference really boils down to three things. First, in the United States, our regulators focus on the probability that something could cause cancer or other health risks in humans. But in the UK and the EU, they just consider the mere possibility that something could contribute to health problems for humans. So the possibility has to exist, not the probability that it will. So, kind of philosophically, there's a big difference in that way between the US and our European counterparts. Second, and we've talked about this before, particularly around diet and nutrition, the food industry in the United States has a very strong presence in all of our regulatory stuff, whether we are talking about the Food and Drug Administration, the USDA, all of the federal bureaus in the United States are commingled a little bit with all of our big food companies. And lobbying is a reality in the United States on some of these public health issues. And then finally, there does seem to be some kind of loophole in FDA regulations that sometimes allows food companies to say, all right, this additive is on the watch list, but we believe at this level of use, the additive isn't going to cause any harm. And so, in some ways, it appears that US food companies, because of a loophole in US regulations, sometimes self regulate on this stuff without actual oversight from the Food and Drug Administration. So, what can we do to protect ourselves in the US from all of these additives that, like the EU, UK, and others have sort of determined are problematic? But in the United States, they allow folks to put it in our food. The very first thing we can do is to check food labels for the following ingredients, few of which I am going to be able to pronounce because they're like food additives with big long names. So first, potassium, I can pronounce that, potassium bromate. This is commonly found in the packaged breads that we buy at the grocery store in the United States. And it's been banned in numerous places, Europe, China, and India, because potassium bromate is believed to be a carcinogen. Titanium dioxide is an additive that's used in candies and pastries, and making me very sad, it is in Skittles and Starburst and other candies. And it also is believed to be to have some carcinogenic properties. Titanium dioxide. Look for that on your food labels. Look for brominated vegetable oil. Now, oddly, this shows up in diet and citrus sodas, including Sundrop. I also saw some reports that it shows up in Dr. Pepper products, but I wasn't able to find that in more than one place. But do check food labels for this additive because it is a danger to your thyroid health. And really, the issue with brominated vegetable oil relates to the bromine. But isn't it weird that there's vegetable oil in some sodas? I just think it's so weird to think of vegetable oil being in some sodas. This substance is banned not just in the EU, it's also banned in Japan and China. Okay, I have no idea how to say this. Azodicarbonamide. Azodicarbonamide. I don't know. This is a flour and bleaching agent. It's banned in Europe and Australia, and it also is believed to be a carcinogen. It used to be widely used in the United States in the fast food industry. Its use has been really dialed back. There was a big PR nightmare for all the fast food companies because apparently this also shows up in yoga mats. It's something that's used to make yoga mats. And there was a whole thing in the around 2014, 2015, where there were a lot of headlines about fast food restaurants using this particular additive, which also was used to make yoga mats and a lot of their breads and pastries. That said, there was one report that Arby's may still be using this additive in some of its breakfast food products. And finally, propylparaben. Propylparaben. Look for this on ingredient labels. It's found in a lot of processed foods, including those branded by Weight Watchers, Sara Lee, and Archer Farms. Archer Farms is one of the house brands, I think, at Target. And this additive has been linked to fertility and endocrine problems. So really, when you are buying these kinds of food, when you are buying processed foods, please do look for this additive because it may cause some problems for us. So action step number 1 is when we are buying things at the grocery store, look for these food additives because they are likely ones that we want to avoid. Action step number 2, if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. You just heard me kind of stumble through pronunciation for some of these things. And I would say that that's a good rule for us to keep in our heads. If you're looking at the label and you can't pronounce something in it, maybe don't buy it because we don't know what it is exactly. If you can't pronounce it, don't buy it. And then action step number 3, one thing we can do is eat fewer processed foods. And I say fewer because I want to be real that because of time constraints, energy constraints, very few of us are going to completely eliminate processed foods, but we certainly can help reduce the risks of some of these things if we eat fewer of these products. So I have learned in my time in the UK that I may no longer eat my Skittles, which makes me sad. I'd be interested to know if there are products that you no longer eat because you know or believe that they have additives in them that are not probably good for us. Would love to know if there are other additives that you keep an eye out for to try to protect what you are putting in your body to try to keep your body healthier. Please drop all of that into the comments below and do come back on Thursday when we will have another grocery haul and meal plan live from London. Well, not live, it'll be a video, but I'm shopping in London this week and I'm shopping in an Aldi for the very first time. So come on back.